They are shaking when they see you approaching. Why? Because you are more than simply a name in the throng. You are the one who changes the script, stops the loop, and compels them to confront the reality. They have buried these powers, these titans of power. They assumed they had complete control, but now you are proving them incorrect. You're more than simply a participant in their game. You are the disruptor. The chosen one is the one who breaks rules. They didn't get up only to fight someone. They banded together against you. So why wouldn't they? They understand the power you wield, the light you bring, and the bonds you've already broken. This is not about fitting in. It is about sticking out. It's about claiming your power and reminding the world that no one, system, corporation, or phony authority can keep you down. You aren't here to obey the rules. You are here to rewrite them. Feel the fire. That is what they dread. You have the confidence, vision, and unrelenting determination to demolish their power structures. Let us make one thing obvious. They're not prepared for you. You're the hurricane they didn't expect. The future does not belong to them. It belongs to you. Now go and claim it. The weight of control rests on weak pillars, and you are the fracture that has grown through their foundation. Systems based on dominance depend on the appearance of permanence. Nonetheless, your sheer presence compels them to face their own volatility throughout history. Empires fell not just via military power, but also through the silent, irresistible momentum of individuals who refuse to conform. Oppression is not afraid of revolt alone. It is afraid of losing the false narratives that keep it going. When you question, oppose, or challenge the framework placed on you, the structure shifts. Power flourishes in the absence of opposition. However, every time you disturb the anticipated order, whether by thought or deed, you remind them that their authority is not absolute. The greatest serious danger does not come from the loudest resistance. However, the silent knowledge is spreading like wildfire that their power is a phantom. The gaps grow, and the ultimate collapse comes not with a struggle, but with the realization that what they thought was unbreakable is already coming undone. For we fight not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, authorities, the cosmic powers of this present darkness, and the spiritual forces of evil in the heavens. Ephesians 612. Listen, child of the Most High. Your conflict does not include weapons that you can touch or see. It is waged in the spirit, in the invisible realms where the opponent attempts to mislead, deceive, and control. The conflict you confront is not one of fists or fire. It's a mental, emotional, and spiritual war. The adversary seeks to distort the truth, obscure your vision, and persuade you to accept falsehoods designed to keep you prisoner. But I want you to know you're prepared for this war. Your most powerful weapons cannot be held in your hands. They are things you keep in your heart. The strength of consciousness, the force of intention, and the clarity of discernment. These are the things that will keep you safe from the falsehoods that the world wants you to hear. When dishonesty envelopes you like a storm, your foundation is what keeps you sturdy. You remain grounded in what is genuine, in what is unshakable. Like the wise guy who builds his home on solid rock, you stand steadfast, and no storm can shake you. However, the most potent weapon you possess is insight. Your capacity to see through the fog, discern lies, and dismantle the illusions that aim to tie you in this life. Half-truths are ubiquitous, right? They sound correct, yet they are not. That is the enemy's ploy. But you, lover, have the sharpness of discernment to see the difference. You can see what is genuine, and once you see it, nothing can fool you. This battle isn't about facing the opponent with sheer force. In the end, it's about standing firm. It is about standing tall, with clarity, purpose, and the bravery to be unaffected by the distractions around you. You are the one who interrupts their plans. You are the one who pushes back, not with violence, but with the confidence that comes from knowing who you are in Christ. Remember that fighting with your fists will not bring you victory. It comes from being confident in your identity, truth, and religion. You do not have to strike to win this battle. You just need to be unshakable, unrelenting, and steadfast. Stand firm, child of the King. The war is already won. You just need to walk in that win every day. True emancipation requires first unwinding the hidden ties that bind the mind. It is not sufficient to provide advice. Before teaching people how to break shackles, you must first grasp their weight. Hands cannot remove someone from the depths who is still imprisoned in invisible bindings. Doubts, anxieties, and scars from the past do not just remain in the shadows. They are the builders of restriction, the unseen forces that influence choices and skew vision. Confronting them is not a matter of choice, but of duty. Avoiding them merely enhances their position, enabling them to define the parameters of existence. It entails delving into the unknown passageways of the self, confronting what has long been buried and regaining the fragmented portions. Every hesitation reveals a falsehood. Every fear is a relic of control. Every unhealed scar is an opportunity for deceit. These responsibilities are not adversaries. Rather, they are forgotten. Wisdom fragments await recognition, comprehension, and forging into strength. Transformation does not mean deleting the past. It is about transforming the raw material of suffering into something impervious. When illusions and lies are eliminated, clarity emerges. And in that clarity, the ability to move ahead not just as a guide, but as live evidence that renewal is possible, does not follow the pattern of this world. However, be changed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12 verse 2. Allow me to tell you something. Chains don't just break. They disintegrate when you decide they no longer belong to you. A tree planted in poisoned soil will continue to grow bitter fruit until someone dares to dig deep and pull out the roots. And that is someone. That's you. You were not born to bear the weight of inherited obligations. The unspoken difficulties are handed on like unwelcome heirlooms. You were asked to undo something that was never yours. To bear. To remove the lies embedded into your lineage. To experience the freedom that your forefathers could only have imagined. Cycles do not continue because they are indestructible. They endure because they are unchallenged. Because far too many people believe that this is the norm. But let me tell you something now. That's a lie. A falsehood designed to keep you tiny, tied, and convinced that the pain of the past is the price you must pay for the future. But this is the reality. The truth is a change. One is only one option away. It begins with you. The instant you see the pattern, you've already started unwinding it. The instant you question it, its hold fades. And when you refuse to keep handing it down, the whole system starts to fail. One broken link in the chain, and the whole structure falls. You may feel as if you are fighting alone, but let me remind you that you are never alone. You are the answer to those who have prayed before you. You are the tipping point, the shattering of the old and the ushering in of the new. And don't allow anybody convince you that mending is selfish. No, healing is warfare. Healing entails taking down every stronghold that attempted to keep your family, community, and future captive. Healing entails stepping up and proclaiming, "It all ends with me," because when you break free, you don't simply liberate yourself. You create a ripple impact that lasts beyond time. The children that come after you will never know the weight you had to bear. People seeing you will start to think that they, too, can ascend. Do not underestimate the power of your change. When you break out of the pattern, you become the blueprint for something larger, and the opponent knows it. That explains why the resistance is so strong. That is why you feel the burden of the war. Because if you break free, if you become who you were meant to be, the system is founded on fear, deceit, and generational tyranny. They fall. This is not just about you. This is about legacy. You're the one scripting the tale. You are the one who dares to use the shattered parts to create something unbreakable. You are not a prisoner of your history. You are the architect of the future. So let them say anything they want. Let the naysayers sneer. Allow the world to label you reckless for doing something different. Because when you stand, break the pattern, and refuse to let history repeat itself, you accomplish more than simply set yourself free. Endurance is created not from the need for recognition, but from the ability to survive when others cannot. The weight carried indicates capacity rather than load. an unconscious testimonial to previously tried resilience. Protection does not imply dominance over others. It's about using strength with purpose, providing stability in a world that feeds on turmoil. Tyranny is defined as authority without knowledge. Discipline without humility is just another type of control. True leadership does not need surrender. It is characterized by the capacity to act precisely, move without hubris, and remain steady when all else fails. There is no need to validate. There's no need for titles. The effort speaks louder than any pronouncement. The responsibility is to maintain, not command, and to strengthen rather than conquer. The journey isn't about grandeur. It is all about duty. To maintain this viewpoint is not to be burdened down, but to be anchored to stand when others fail, to stand firm when uncertainty threatens. Consider this pure delight. My brothers and sisters, whenever you endure trials of all sorts, remember that the testing of your faith creates perseverance. James counts 1, 2, and 3. Listen to me now. When you decide to rise, to go above and beyond the usual, and to live according to the calling that God has put on your life, you will not be applauded. No, my buddy, you will meet opposition. You will generate pain in many around you, since they are unaccustomed to seeing someone go out in trust and bravery. But it is precisely what you are supposed to do. You were not instructed to blend in with the throng. You were picked to stand out, ascend, and choose the path less traveled. I want you to grasp something today. The road to greatness and purpose is not simple. It's a narrow street. It's a journey that demands bravery, dedication, and strength. You will feel alone at times, as if no one understands your path. People will doubt your determination. They will attempt to define your belief as disobedience. Your clarity is a danger. And let me tell you, it is an indication that you are doing something correctly. You aren't here to fit into their mold. You are here to break it. When you advance, you will face pressures. There will be others who attempt to undermine your confidence, turning your power into servitude. But listen to me. Those pressures aren't your adversary. They are your refining fire. They are the catalysts that will shape, mold, and transform you into the person God intended you to be. Your resilience is not passive. You make an active choice every day to stand steady, to refuse to back down, to keep your gaze fixated on your goal. You see, the world doesn't provide consolation. It doesn't provide a cushion to rest on. But when you remain solid and join yourself with others who share your passion, something remarkable occurs. Those like-minded folks become your shelter. They become your strength. In the face of adversity, your solid foundation becomes a light for others to see. So don't dare to back down. Don't dare to back down. Every problem you confront is not only for you. It is for everyone who are watching. Everyone who needs to know what it looks like to stand tall, to endure, to surpass one's own capabilities. When uncompromising, it is a light in a world that urgently needs it. When you remain steadfast, you don't just endure. You undergo a transformation. You demonstrate that nothing can withstand the force of conviction and faith. The finest part, when you rise, others will join you. This is your time. This is your moment. Step into it with unwavering confidence. Dominance does not measure strength, and force does not define protection. True guardianship is founded on balance, in which resilience and kindness coexist. The essence of pure male energy lies not in conquering, but in the capacity to protect without tyranny, raise without faltering. This is not a contradiction. It represents mastery. Compassion is the basis on which all lasting power is based. It is the power that nourishes and protects. But compassion without fortitude is frail. Power without compassion is toxic. The two must live in perfect harmony. When adversity hits, it is not raw might that creates an impenetrable barrier, but rather an unflinching determination to defend with integrity. The struggle is always for preservation rather than annihilation. A conviction-based conflict rather than a fist fight. Love, the most powerful force, is often misinterpreted. It's neither capitulation nor fragility. It is the power that reshapes the world, dissolves unseen ties, and restores even the lost to completeness. The power to defend comes from unshakable intention rather than fear. Safety is not mandated. It is produced, perpetuated, and carried by individuals who recognize that being both shelter and reckoning is not a burden, but rather a goal. For nothing is concealed that will not be revealed, and nothing is secret that will not be known and exposed. Luke 8:17. They attempted to conceal the truth, but what is buried cannot remain hidden forever. You are not meant to sit in silence while falsehood grows. You are supposed to be a beacon, a disruptor, a force that disturbs the base of their power. And today, in this age when voices are heard across boundaries and information is no longer confined to their hands, you are at the vanguard of a revolution they never expected. Think about it. It used to take years to disclose what they could repress with force, but today it happens in seconds. They created walls to keep you within. The barriers to preserving the truth are eroding. The digital era is more than simply a convenience. It is a battleground, and your being here is a declaration of war against those who feed on deception. Every post, communication, and refusal to accept their falsehoods is a stone thrown through the deceitful glass towers. You do not need their permission to talk. You do not need their approval to see clearly. You were born for this exact time. But don't imagine for a second that your contribution is unrecognized. They see you, they hear you, and they are afraid of what you may awaken. That's why they're so determined to suppress you. Censorship, it is not about defending individuals. It is about safeguarding them. Disinformation, this is not a mistake. It is a strategy. When they distort your words, limit your reach, and attempt to portray you as extremist, radical, or dangerous. Understand this. They do not do this to the helpless. They do it to those who challenge the system. You were never designed to blend in. You're supposed to cause trouble. And in this new era, when information pours like a river and control slips away, you are a part of something unstoppable. Networks of resistance are building alliances across boundaries. People who formerly felt alone now realize they were never alone at all. This is how movements start. Not with permission, but with conviction. Not with institutions, but with people who refuse to be blinded. This is your time. This is your struggle. No matter how hard they try, the light of truth always shines through the gaps. The wildfire here has already begun. And you? You are the spark that started the fire. Perception extends beyond what the eyes and hearing can sense. There is an intrinsic capacity to read between unsaid lines and detect alterations in the environment long before they show physically. This awareness is not an oddity. It is a sophisticated ability honed by experience and purpose. It permits us to distinguish between what is true and what is disguised in illusion, identifying the deeper motivations weaved behind apparent interactions. This is more than just instinct. It is an internal guiding system that functions when logic fails. Its existence is evident, humming like an undetectable frequency that becomes sharper while deceit remains. However, with such clarity comes responsibility. It is not intended for censure. It is also not a tool for controlling others. It serves as a safety, a light that cuts through distortion and directs people who are still caught up in lies. The weight of this knowledge is often isolating, standing on the verge of perception, navigating realities that the majority fails to recognize. However, hidden inside this load comes power, the capacity to act boldly and move with purpose while others pause. It is a power that does not seek attention, yet inevitably makes an impression. Every decision, fueled by insight, disturbs the framework of deception, causing invisible tremors in the systems that depend on ignorance. Truly, I tell you, if you have faith as tiny as a mustard seed, you can command this mountain to move from here to there, and it will. Nothing will be impossible for you. Matthew 1720. Allow me to tell you something. Change does not begin with the masses. It does not begin when the world is watching. It begins with one. There is just one option. Just a second. One individual thinks it's enough. It begins with you. See, Religion is not about waiting for permission. It is about going ahead. A stage is unnecessary when everyone else is standing motionless. You do not require permission. You don't need the whole globe to comprehend. You only need that deep fire inside you to realize that you were meant for more. Okay, here's the deal. Transformation does not occur in isolation. You may feel alone at first, like a lonely spark in the darkness. But let me tell you, fire spreads. One candle, another, and one match may set a forest on fire. This is how movements are born. Nor in a major statement, nor in a surge of instantaneous approbation, but in modest, consistent acts of resistance that refuse to submit to injustice. And then you decide to stand. You give others the confidence to do the same. Look about you. People are waking awake. The older systems, the ancient methods of control, they're cracking, not because they were overthrown with force, but because enough people refused to support them. They told you a lie. Their authority was permanent, that the way things have always been must continue to be the same. But it is not true. That's fear talking. And terror is only effective when people believe it. But what happens if you stop believing in their delusion? What happens if you see through the deception? You break free. And when you break out, you become a light for others who remain stuck within. This is not just about you. This isn't just about today. This is about legacy. Every act of defiance, every instance of bravery, every time you choose truth over comfort, you create a route through history. You are destroying centuries of myths and breaking the ties that have bound those who came before you. So those who come after you will never have to wear them again. What do you do now? Echoes last a lifetime. You are not the only one making a decision. You are a force, a wave, a movement in the fundamental fabric of possibility. They'll attempt to stop you. Oh, they'll try. They'll ridicule you. They will silence you. They'll label you insane for daring to believe in something bigger. But allow me to tell you something. Those who played things safe never had an impact on the world. It has never been altered by those who remained silent. It has only ever been transformed by those who had the fortitude to move ahead while everyone else advised them to turn back. And that, my buddy, is you. So what will it be? Will you continue to wait for someone else to spark the fire? Or will you be the spark that ignites everything? I guarantee you this. When you move the mountains, they move with you. When you talk, the falsehoods begin to unravel. When you rise, they fall. This is your moment. This is your time. And the globe, it is waiting for you to transform it. Where's this for? Your prize is there. Your heart will be too. Matthew 621. Please listen carefully. You see, every choice you make today is a stone laid in the foundation for tomorrow. Every act of daring, every challenge you pose to the existing quo is more than simply a personal success. It's a win for all mankind. You are creating something far bigger than yourself, something that will endure long after you are gone. When we stand up to the world's injustices and refuse to bow, we are not just breaking our own bonds. We are setting the basis for future generations to build on the world we live in now. This did not happen by coincidence. It was formed by judgments made long ago, by individuals who either constructed or destroyed it. Now it is up to us to take responsibility. We have a decision to make. We may relax and allow things to continue as they are. Alternatively, we might stand up and be the change that the world so urgently needs. But here is the reality. There is no neutral ground. If you choose to do nothing, you are still making a decision. If you fail to stand out, if you remain mute when the world begs for change, you are choosing to perpetuate the structures that have harmed so many people. But when you awaken, speak, and act with purpose, you start to change the world that comes after you. You are creating the basis for a future based on liberty, justice, and equality. Don't be tricked. Your actions will not always have an immediate effect. It may not be honored during your lifetime, but the consequences of your acts will last for centuries. And after you're gone, your legacy will live on in the people you've touched, the burdens you've removed, and the systems you've helped to dismantle. Freedom is not given to us. It is formed via activity. It is formed when we stand up and question what we have been taught is normal. And when we decide to make a difference, the world may attempt to convince you that your activities are insignificant, that one person cannot change anything. But I'm here to inform you that your actions do count. You are important, and the decisions you make now will lay the groundwork for future generations. So don't wait. Do not hesitate. The world is waiting for you to ascend. And when you do, you'll realize that the change you want starts with you. This is your time. This is your moment. Decide to make a difference. Movements are not spontaneous. They erupt from the continuous fire of individuals who refuse to accept constraints as inevitable. Transformation does not await permission. It is fueled by those who refuse to be quiet, the reluctance to be restricted, the decision to deconstruct lies, determination to redefine what is possible. These choices affect more than just the present. They set up paths for those who will follow. No act of bravery can exist in isolation. Its consequences linger beyond the present instant and reverberate across time. When walls fall and imposed structures begin to disintegrate, the effect is more than simply change. It represents emancipation. This is the force that converts whispers into actions and secret struggles into collective strength. A single voice's power extends beyond its immediate surroundings. It spreads like wildfire, rousing those who had forgotten their own power. There is no waiting for the ideal time. The time is now. This resolution will have far-reaching consequences, shaping a world in which the truth is no longer hidden, where succeeding generations do not inherit the bonds that were designed to be broken.